The Verdun battlefield is one of the most important and well-known sites of war in Europe. What has interested CRIC in the run-up to the centenary is to think about the battlefield as a landscape and how that has created different types of heritage on this site. As a result of the battle on the Verdun battlefield, a number of memorial sites, cemeteries, monuments were built, dispersed across the space of the battlefield. These sites have been part of what we could call the political reconstruction of the battlefield over time. Gradually, the site from a site of war and conflict has become a site for reconciliation, for peace. This began between the wars but continued in earnest after the Second World War, with the site becoming a central spot for symbolizing Franco-German reconciliation in particular. Another type of heritage on the Verdun battlefield today stems out of the way the battlefield was reconstructed. As a result of the complete devastation of the area, there were many questions after the war about what to do with this site where so many lives have been lost. There were questions about whether to let it become covered in forest and abandoned in some ways. There were very emotional debates between veterans, families, state and church officials about what to do with this space. Eventually it was decided to turn it into a forest, a managed forest, to ensure access to the memorial sites and also to give a dignified framework for the repose of the dead, for the cemeteries and the memorials. This forest has evolved over time, has continued to thrive, and has today outstanding biodiversity. Some of the very features of the battlefield, like dugouts and shell holes, are today they host some very rare species of flowers and animals. As we approach the centenary, there's a wish to open the battlefield to many more visitors and to develop tourism on the site. So there's interest both for this historic heritage of the battlefield and for the natural heritage. There's a concern to protect this exceptional biodiversity. And this creates a clash of interests in some ways, because there's a question about whether to conserve the historic sites, which may disturb some of this exceptional natural richness, and particularly the rare species, which creates some tensions about exactly how to use this site as we open it to new kinds of demands, including leisure and tourism, as well as memorial utilization. What we learned from looking at a case like Verdun is that the physical reconstruction of sites of war is a very long-term process. Armed conflict leaves behind a material legacy that endures and in some ways forces later generations to engage with it, to think about what to do with it. In this case, we see also that that material legacy has an internal dynamic of its own, particularly from the point of view of natural heritage, that poses some new demands on people approaching this site today.